Welcome viewers in MRO Digest forum, which was earlier it was called forum, now MRO channel forum. We have been there sending you inputs over the more than last 2 years. And I thought it time for us to now interact with the various eminent personalities who I have had the privilege of talking to on this platform. So today, with the first episode in this series, I am going to be in conversation with the Major General Dr. Ashok Kumar, VSM, who is the Director General CENJOWS. I have had the privilege of knowing him from service days, and I must tell you that the way you see this platform today has come about to this stage with his guidance and his support, and he continues to support us, for which we are very grateful. So may I start by asking you that what was your journey like, and where did it start, and how did it really start, which eventually brought you to this point where you are? General Ashok, please.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. In fact, I have been thinking of writing my life story, especially in Hindi, because there was a lot of requests from colleagues, friends, and acquaintances. Because there are certain things where God has been more than kind, and once I unfold my story, you will agree with me on that count. I was born in a small village in Jaunpur district of UP, and this is a border village between Jaunpur and Pratapgarh. As you approach from Jaunpur side, this is the last village. As you go from Pratapgarh side, this is the first village of Jaunpur. Why am I highlighting this border village concept? Because on immediately south of my village, there is a river Sai which flows, because of which our connectivity with Jaunpur was not that natural and normal as it was with Pratapgarh. So in fact, our revenue district was Jaunpur, but postal district, because of this communication issues, remained Pratapgarh. And therefore, our linkage, education, all those things were gravitated towards Pratapgarh. I joined a primary school in my neighboring village. That was also part of Pratapgarh only. And I was one of the children where the teacher out there and the people had a lot of expectation from me of doing well in the school. There was a lot of talk at that point of time that for the first time there is going to be the board examination in standard fifth. Otherwise, this system was not prevalent. So they were hoping that probably I will, bring some good name to that institution. Anyway, the fifth standard exam was conducted at the district level for the first time, and with God's grace, I stood first in the entire district. And then thereafter moved to the another college nearby my village, around 1.5 to 2 kilometer north of it, where I studied till my 10th. But before I bring you to that level, it will be interesting to note that in my village, there was only one person who had some connect with the defense forces. And that was in our larger family, one of the distant uncles, who was the religious teacher in 9 Mahar. And so he used to write the forces letter. His wife, the aunt, was not in a condition to read those letters and send the response. So since their house was en route to my primary school and my house, so I was one of those guys who used to read those letters for auntie, write response from her side to him. And that was my first connected to see the forces letter in red color, and that was the first connect with the forces. So it was only that much, nothing beyond that. Then once I moved in standard 6th and beyond, and so there is one integrated scholarship examination which was happened when I went there in standard 8th. So again, I got the government scholarship to study in the government inter college. But again, the principal in my college, requested my father that they should allow me to continue in that school, because they were also very hopeful of me getting a some kind of state level position. That was the kind of expectation which they had got. In fact, academically, I was reasonably good. In fact, the gap between me and the person who used to come second in those classes used to be more than 20%. And maths was a strong forte, where I always used to score 100% marks every time. Anyway, so I continued staying in that school and did my 10th from there. And I stood 11th in the state of UP in my 10th board examination. And that journey ended there. And then we moved from there to Government Dental College, Allahabad, for my subsequent education. When we were studying in high school, so though the medium of instruction was Hindi, but predominantly we used to converse in Audhi, which is a dialect in which Ramcharitmanas has been written. That is the lingo in our area, the part of the Awadh, so to say. Of course, we were able to converse in Khadi Hindi as well. So that time we moved from there to GIC Allahabad, and from there I did my 11th and 12th. And after doing 12th, then I joined University of Allahabad. Uh, since the GIC Allahabad days were a kind of transition days for me to actually, because the subjects were being taught in English. Of course, there was not much of English, because subjects like physics, chemistry, maths, they all have not the linguistic flavor of English, but of course English was also a subject, and besides Hindi. And I did reasonably well in intermediate, but not as much as I had done in my 12th. And after that, I decided now it's time to focus on the academics once again during my graduation. The graduation during those days, sir, used to be of only 2 years. And I joined Bachelor of Science in Allahabad University. And in my urge to do well, that I should top the university in my graduation, I opted for statistics as my third subject beside physics and maths, and did not go for chemistry because statistics was actually a kind of mathematics only and much more scoring subject. But once I joined university, so that was the tender age. One got influenced about the communist values. I joined progressive student organization, started giving lectures, started writing from them, looked at a society that there should be equality and careness between anybody and everybody. And that is how life started. And I was staying in one of the hostels there, Dr. Tarachand Hostel. Now, Dara Chand Hostel has got one of its boundaries sharing with Chatham Line's officers' accommodation, where the army officers used to stay. Again, one used to see them, passing and this thing from that, but nothing much was there. And once we joined the hostel, initially you undergo a lot of ragging in the initial days. So there was one senior, Mr. Brijesh Chandra Rai. He was from Bihar. He used to protect these people like us in a big way to reduce the ragging, and therefore he was very popular amongst us. So anyway, the ragging era got over in 2 to 3 months time, and one became thereafter normal inmate of the hostel. And it was beginning of the second year when I was sitting in the room of Mr. Brijesh Chandra Rai along with some of my other friends. And Mr. Brijesh Chandra Rai announced that he is going to fill the form of the Combined Defense Services examination. I must tell you that I was not even knowing about the NDA examination when I could have apply for that. I had no clue because of the environment from which I had gone and going, and of course there was no interest also in this particular area, and therefore the knowledge connect was also missing. So Mr. Rai announced that he is going to fill the CDS forms. So one of the colleagues sitting there, he highlighted, "Sir, you are already married. You have to be bachelor for this entrance examination." So he said, "Who is going to check that? I'll fill the form and not declare my marriage." But since those days, sir, the value system amongst most of us used to be very, very high. We told, sir, it's unethical. You cannot, do such an act, with your family members, to disown them because of the job. And thereafter, he also understood that, and, threw that farm in the dustbin in his room. It was that farm which I picked up and brought to my room. And I thought, let me fill this form. Those days, unlike like nowadays, you go out somewhere in restaurants and elsewhere, invariably amongst friends, you split up the expenditure. Now, this kind of culture was not existing in those days. Whosoever has got money, and whosoever, how many friends are there, you used to pay for anybody and everybody. Invariably, we used to run out of money by the last week of month. So we had heard after reading the that form that for service selection board, I was not worried about the written test because I was quite confident that written examination I will clear. So SSB, it was given that the second class sleeper ticket will be provided, stay will be free. So we thought, okay, let's hope, we get a chance to go to Bangalore and see there at the government expense. And that's why I opted for Air Force. But as luck would have been, I cleared in the written examination, both for Air Force and Army. And but the SSB call came for Varanasi, because Varanasi also has got the Air Force Selection Board. Now, Varanasi was not something which was new to us. Jaunpur district actually was coming under the commissioner of Varanasi, and from Allahabad, Varanasi also places were known, seen. So there was no temptation to go to Varanasi, really speaking, and one was still not decided, whether one has to join, does not join. It was just an experiment, of filling the form and going there. So on the reporting date in the morning, I was just floating around. I had decided that I will not go for SSB, but one of my classmates' elder brother, he saw me. He told Ashok, you should have been, you should have gone to Varanasi today. Where are you doing here? I told Bhaiya, I am not, going to go there. I was not interested to see Varanasi. I had filled it to go to Bangalore, but that didn't happen. So he told that, okay, at least go and have experience. It will be, some add-on to you. So I didn't have a, short. I didn't have a T-shirt. I didn't have a sports shoe. So it was, borrowed from different inmates of, this thing. And I can recall, as you see the in movie Shri 420 in Mera Naam Joker, the Raj Kapoor's, attire. That kind of attire, I landed in Varanasi in the evening. And after keeping my baggage, then went and saw Sarnath because I had some interest in the historical and other issues. And then came back. Then I went through the SSP. We had 56 candidates. I could not clear PABT because whatever they were asking, I was not even able to comprehend that what they are looking at. So the PABT part was missed out, but the SSB I cleared. Out of 56, 3 of us cleared there, and then we were supposed to report to MH Allahabad for our medicals. Even at this stage, I was not decided to join army. So came back to the hostel and was dwindling whether to go for medical test or not. But again, somebody tell that there's nothing wrong whether you want to join or not. That a decision you can take later also, because then there is a merit, and then thereafter you will have a final call to take. So at least you go and go through the process. So we went to MH Allahabad, and that time my second year examination started, because the series permits your second year candidates, the final candidates, to appear for serious examination, and that's why I had appeared. And then when I went for medical, then the examinations started. Incidentally, the eye specialist that time was not available in MH Allahabad. He was to come on TD from somewhere. So that actually delayed our stay in MH Allahabad to almost a month's duration. So we were guests there. people had a lot of respect towards us because they are the SSB qualified candidates, and now they are being seen through medical. So from hospital only, I used to go to university, give my examination, and come back. Finally, the eye specialist also came. That test was done, and medical thing was announced. And luckily, out of those three, two failed in medical, and I was a lone guy who was cleared in the medical. Came back to the hostel, and I was to join in the first week of January '83 Indian Military Academy as a direct entry. And but again, as I told you, I was not very keen at that point of time to join because the culture and atmosphere in Allahabad University was predominantly focused those guys who were academically brighter towards becoming IAS and PCS officers, and those who were not so academically bright, they were becoming politicians. That was the culture prevalent there. So being part of one of them, I was also aspiring that I will also now do my MSc in statistics, and then once I reach the requisite age, then I'll also appear for IAS. So the first week I didn't go to IMA, but my hostel warden was a distant relative. So I used to go to his house once in 10 days, 15 days for house food kind of thing, which is the aspiration of children in that age. So I went there, and met Mr. Dikshit and had a meal with him. So he was aware that I have appeared for the examination, cleared, and I will be probably going. So once he asked me, I told sir that I'm not going to join. I'll join MSc Statistics and try to crack my IS. So he told Ashok, you give it a fresh look, because for IS you have to be minimum of 21 years of age to appear. Then there is a prelims examination, then there is a written examination, then there is an interview, then there is a merit. There is firstly no certainty that you will get through IS. Secondly, there is no certainty that you will get through in the first attempt. So it will remain a kind of uncertain. He was aware about my domestic situation. My father was a government employee, relatively better off in the village, but otherwise, that was a challenge because my younger brother was also getting ready to come to Allahabad for education. So for him, handling both the children would have become a challenge. So he explained it to me that you are around 19 years now, and by the time you finish your training, you'll be 20 and a half years. And at that age, you'll become a classroom gazetted officer. So I suggest you forget IAS and everything else and join Indian Military Academy. So 19 years is the minimum age actually for a serious candidate to join IMA. I was just 19 year 1 month when I joined, one of the youngest people to join Indian Military Academy from a direct entry stream. But once I left Allahabad for IMA Dehradun, I entered the gate. So, during this 1 to 2 days, a lot of motivation had come. Not that I could know much about the army, but I thought, okay, now I am going to join army. So I'll be, at some point of time, it's, top leader of the Indian Army. With that thought process, I entered that gate, and, finally I was put in the Noshira company there. Now, some of the candidates, because the joining date was in January, so our luggage had gone in 3 ton, and we had also landed. So there was a query that who has come from which all period. So there was one candidate, now retired Colonel Ashok Pandey, who was also from Allahabad, but I didn't know him earlier before this thing. So people were just inquiring, you have come from which place, and all that. So he finally got to know about me, that I have come from Allahabad. So he had reached about 7-8 days prior to me, and he was totally sorted out in terms of whether you would use the term ragging or physical this thing or Masuri night, all those kind of things which were happening. So he asked me my academic details, and then told Ashok, don't report, you just return back and focus on your primary aim. But I thought in my mind, now I have come, so I have to be in this path as my final career destination, and nothing going back. The story in academy, I will be with you in conversation on some other day, because the training period also had brought out a lot of exposures, and the of course the service period was also memorable, and thereafter this thing. So one will get more opportunity to focus on that, so that the listeners don't get bored. But suffice here to say, a person from a normal village who till 10th was not able to speak even Khadi Hindi, thereafter moved to this thing, got selected by the system, and was also able to move to its current stage. So we may have our individual experiences of looking at our organizations and some of the people who have been there in a different manner, how it has clicked with us or not. But I think if your honesty of purpose is there, and you are in that particular path without disregarding what opinion people are having about you, I think you will make a mark. I'm quite convinced that somebody who may not be as deserving may go a little ahead, but you will definitely get to the place what you deserve.
So this is a very engrossing story. And the one point which comes is that there is a discarded form which is lying in the dustbin, and that you picked up. So, though you were looking at another option, career option, but why is it that you picked up that form? Because you know that form is going to be taking you towards a different option, towards something which you were not, maybe you were just considering by virtue of your uncle's influence, who was in the army or proximity to an army facility. But what made you pick up that form?
Actually, it was probably less on the Army's orientation, frankly speaking. But since the CDS examination is also conducted by the Union Public Service Commission, and so is the IS examination. So I thought, let me read the particulars, and if there is opportunity, maybe the testing pattern, some examinations, some kind of exposure comes one's way. So that time the clarity was not there to join Army, frankly speaking.
So
And,
there,
and, and, frankly speaking, I think, there are certain things which are, destined. These things started happening, one after the other. As I told you that, I had no intention to join army. This incident happened, the form was there. Still, it was not necessarily that I could have picked up that form, but I did. After, picking up and reading, it was not required that I should fill that form, but I still filled. And if you see at each stages, whether the decision to go for SSB, I wish I would have had the photograph to say the kind of the dress I had gone, and despite that dress, despite not being able to speak English in those days, it was Hindi English mix. That is how I attempted my SSB. So I got selected. Then the medical thing happened. Then decision not to join, and then meeting Mr. Dikshit. And then his argument and that family connect of mine getting cajoled that I must not become a challenge for my father, and let the family also flourish. And then thereafter the motivation became real, really speaking.
that's such a beautiful story, because there's a destiny which is guiding you, and one would feel, like you yourself said. But the other time, there's so many things playing out. For example, your sense of responsibility to the family. That I would, it's better that I get on with it, because it'll lighten the load on my father. That comes in, and this aspect of, it's very interesting that you looked at at that age you could sense that this UPSC examination aspect which you just brought out. So all that is so good. Now what actually, I go back to the beginning of your story, and the what I'm asking you is this, that this you're doing well in studies and then continuing to aspire to do better, being led towards that direction by your people there. So actually, what is it that you can tell our viewers, that how is it that you got more and more interested in studies as you went along?
Well, sir, as I told you, my father had a dream. In my village before me, nobody had cleared the 10th standard in first division. My father, he was himself the first high school in that village. Of course, he himself had cleared that in third division, but then still he was high school, and he was a UP government employee. So once he was working with his officers, so they had children who used to clear these things in the first division and all that. So he had a dream that someday my son should also do his first division as far as the matriculation is concerned. So that was a dream, and right from beginning, I don't know, probably the God's gift or something like that. The academic orientation with me was very high, and there was a total focus. Actually, I was unaware of the outside world till my 10th, that what else is there except the studies. In fact, I distinctly recall on 10th board happens in April May time frame, and it was month of November. I had a house on a rooftop. I was just moving from one side to the other side. My father came and he asked me that, now you are going inching closer to your examination. You should be studying more, but you are not studying anything. So I told him, I too used to call him Pitaji. I said, Pitaji, there is nothing which I don't know. In fact, I told him that you take all my books, you pick up one word from anywhere. I will tell you whether, at least with this much accuracy, whether that is on the left page or right page, or whether it is in that page on top portion, center portion, or in the lower portion. So that is the kind of, I think, the God's blessing which was there. I was very fond of writing. Right from the beginning, I used to write, poems, articles, and things like that. Right from beginning, and which continued. And I feel when I look at my academic career, even in defense forces, I think my academic orientation and the tendency to study, to comprehend, and analyze things, that have stood with the time, and that has contributed to my career in a big way.
That, of course, answers a major question for me, because I have always, when I've interacted with you, I've always, I would say, admired this quality of you to have remember a lot of facts and present them extempo. So now I know from where that has come, because when you told your father that you ask anything from any book, so apparently that has been, and it's such a, that's why when you talk, it comes across very factually, and even extempo, it is a very factual talk when I'm talking about other technical matters or other geopolitical and defense-related matters when I've heard you speak. So that explains that. So the second thing which sort of jumps out from your story is that if you notice, though destiny is there, but the destiny was playing its hand through some good Samaritans, some either relatives or somebody who's not a relative, always, telling you, okay, do this, do this. What do you have? What do you say about that? That does this happen in life often? Does it happen to many people? What have you later on observed? Are these sort of angels existing there for all of us?
I think so, sir. Because there is a saying in Sanskrit which says "Tadrashi eva jayate buddhi yadrashi bhavitavyata." That you start thinking the way your destiny is going to come. Like when I had decided not to go for SSB in Varanasi, so I was meeting this person. My classmate's house was quite close to my hostel, around 400 meters or so. And his father was an economics professor in Allahabad University, and I used to be a very frequent visitor to his house. At times, even it would be taking 5 to 7 days. But just see the matter of chance, it is on that day when I was to leave and reach Varanasi in the evening. In the daytime, around breakfast time, I had gone to their house, and then this conversation took place. I could have, got delayed, and then the, issue would have been irrelevant. So I think whatever God one believes, it is that, that creates these conditions, to make function. In fact, my joining of army is a sheer coincidence of good people who have, I think, been brought my way with God's grace.
That's so nice to hear. And the next thing, which now you see, you told me that when you went to the SSB, there were 56 candidates, and you were the only one who was selected. And three were selected through SSB, but okay, because of medical reasons, you were the only one who came through. But out of 56, only three being selected, and you reached there in the circumstances which you just explained. Just about. So what does that tell us? That I feel that it's a very good system which selected you, where they were looking not at your external appearance or whatever, or your ability to speak in English very fluently or whatever, but they were looking at you as maybe officer material. I think that's what we all know SSB is all about. So you would like to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, sir. Actually, that is a very, very, pertinent issue which you have raised. And the way I went through SSB, the kind of, exposure I have had with the GTOs, with the interviewing officers and the, psychologists. Psychologist thing was easy for me, really speaking, because it was a quick decision on a particular issue, whether it is word association test, thematic appraisal. I mean, the four kind of test they used to have. Since we over a period of time, one had certain kind of value systems in life, in the family and in the education also. And I think once you have those value system in you, it becomes easy for you to reflect that. And you can then be gaze for the leadership qualities or the characteristics, whether they are trainable or otherwise, by the service selection board. One the GTO, if you're, let's say, suppose, I will tell you, if you're a person who is helpful, which I was, that was the basic nature, not related to me otherwise. So normally they do the full group task, where a task is given, you are one of the members of 8 people, you are given a task, and with the team you have to finally do the task. And finally you all win only if you are able to get across with everybody. So if you are helping everybody and you are not the one who is rushing to become first to get across, so you get noticed. Thereafter, once you come to the half group task, then the again the characteristics which would not have been seen that much in full group task, that becomes very, very important. Thereafter comes the individual group task. Now, in individual group task, you are asked to pick up 2 persons out of that group whom you wish to take to execute that task. It is natural that you will pick up only those people whom you feel that they are going to help you to accomplish the task. That is, who are the team men who are going to help you selflessly. So out of all those 8 people, one was my own, but less 7 people, everybody had picked up me as part of their team. So that indicates the higher degree of acceptability and being a team man and everything else. So I found, and what in those in that tender is, I could decipher that these could be the characteristics probably the army would be looking at. Those things were not known to me then, but thereafter those things got known to me. I have guided large number of candidates how to clear SSB, and my basic guidance has been, if you want to be seen as a particular person, be naturally that way. If you want to be somebody who is if somebody is being seen as a team man, so be a team man in routine life, whether you are doing college, university, workplace, anywhere. So I think that kind of atmosphere which selected me in SSB gave me a very, very high degree of trust. Probably that also got embedded somewhere. Finally, when I took the decision on the advice of Mr. Dixit, that okay, probably I am going to an organization where finally it is the merit which is going to get counted.
So now you see your value system is come in this. So now in this case, the value system you get from the family, from your surroundings, from your teachers, presumably that's what really is the value system, isn't it? So, but you said that this aspect of working as a team. So, what is it you feel influenced you in those early ages, before you reached the SCB, which built this aspect on you to be helpful to others or to that particular aspect of your value system?
I think I can explain one thing in that. Uh, we had a village where large number of males were working either in Calcutta or in Mumbai or to other far off places, and they used to come home once in a year, and balance time their lady wives they used to look after the children, and they were almost all of them were uneducated. So as I told you that my uncle who was in force and I used to write the letter for them, you will be surprised that it was around 20 to 25 ladies about whom I used to help. Other children used to joke around and move off, but I used to spend time, listen to their thought process, was they wish to communicate, then try to put that in appropriate language. So an idea of helping, or somebody falling ill in the village, going there, that kind of thing, that was the actually the village atmosphere itself largely is the one who which demonstrates the team spirit and helping each other in a big way. So probably those things would have I mean, come one's thought process. And when I used to go to the college, I have never missed the college, whether it is rain. If there were rains, the school used to be stopped, but I still used to go to the college. And after the even on Sundays when it used to be off or holidays, I used to go there, and all the children used to come. I used to teach them mathematics. Why while this thing also. So it was that kind of culture, love, care, and the different kind of things which were prevalent in the village atmosphere, which came in my life, which are actually missing these days in a big way, because a lot of changes are happening for water with the regions. But I think those things helped me to pick those things in a natural way.
Thank you for that very, very valuable answer. Now I'm going to take you fast forward to the army life. Then you eventually rose to a very high rank, headed a very major organization as the Director General, Additional Director General, very sensitive, very important organization. And now, of course, you're Director General CENJOWS. But coming after you retired from the army, what was it that really brought you, moved you in the direction in which you are now after your retirement?
Well, sir, as I told you that I was fond of writing, right from beginning. In my college days, university days, in magazines and elsewhere, I used to write a lot. I used to read a lot. In fact, once I had joined the Progressive Students Organization, so all the historical concepts, evolutions, a lot of the reading, discussing all those things used to happen, and I used to write also a lot. Of course, within the army, the writing got converted predominantly to the office functioning, making notes, comments, views, and those kind of things which we are exposed to this thing. In army also, I did write, few articles, but the if you are committed to the army in a way, then you don't get time. And secondly, the process of clearance takes so much time that you don't also get that kind of motivation. But since it was very close to my heart, so I thought, in the second phase of my life after retirement, let me be in the field where my passion lies. And my passion was in the reading, writing, talking, and sharing my thoughts and learning from others. So that's why one shifted in the current field. And it is matter of chance I got the opportunity in which I'm tenanting this appointment, which is also having the same job. In that I was in individual capacity. In this it is an organizational capacity where I'm working close to my passion.
So, the obviously it's your passion, so that explains, but it's a lot of hard work also, as I can see. So how do you remain updated in the variety of fields which you're looking at, and what is it is your inspiration? In it, of course, passion is there, but unflagging work, always looking for knowing more. What is it your inspiration, and how do you remain updated in the various fields which you're covering?
I think that the passion is the inspiration, honestly speaking. And over a period of time, since I have got the varied interest, interest in geopolitical issues, in healthcare, in policy formulations, in education, There is actually no field where I feel that one doesn't have an interest that I should be XYZ. In fact, some people keep advising me also that you should focus and become a specialist in a particular area. But as against that, one crisscrosses multiple fields, and it is the maximum reading, talking, hearing, interacting, and always believing that you are always a learner irrespective of this thing. There is somebody who junior to you, your colleague or your superior, with whom you are able to learn every day and improve yourself, both in the knowledge and also the work which you are doing.
So now looking at this time after your service, now that you've gone into this field, what is it that any challenge which you had to face, and how did you overcome it to pursue your passion?
You are talking about a superannuation.
Yes, yes.
So the challenge was initially that in the army you don't have the conventional connect with the media. So therefore, once you write the articles, don't get published. You write to one person, he rejects that. Then you write to second, you write to third. Somebody publishes, and but slowly and steadily, because the media also has got two models. One is in which they pay, once you write, and secondly, because of the digital era, the web article, where people are looking for material, they publish, irrespective. So with mix and match, one started doing that, and once large number of articles started appearing, then it became a kind of traction where the media houses also started approaching you to write on a particular subject, to appear in a TV discussion and things like that. So that is how the journey has been, and that has also given me the opportunity to write two books, one on China betrays again, and second is the Indian challenge on the global stage. And as of now, I'm also planning to write two, three more books. Let's see, when do they see the light of the day.
So now the next question which comes to mind is that like you have achieved so much after your superannuation. So what would you be advising somebody else who's got a similar type of interest as you, and now is after superannuation is looking at doing something like what you do? What would your advice to them be?
I think they should be in this field only if they are passionate about it, because it will come with varying degree of success, and it is not assured success. At times you find 2, 3, 4, 5 names in the media from the defense fraternity. So if you keep comparing yourself with them right from beginning, you may get disappointed. But if it is you are passionate, and in that passion you have got some cause, like you have created MRO channel forum, see the kind of cause it is serving, so that also keeps you the self motivated, and the passion and everything gets synergized. So if you are in this field, and also you have got some inbuilt aim of giving back to the society or to the defense forces, I think then there is just no issue. There is adequate appetite for anybody and everybody in this particular field to grow and prosper.
So then that brings me to the final question. It's been very engrossing listening to all you said. And that is that for the audience, those who are listening in, what are the one or two takeaways from your today's talk? What would you like to say as sort of sums up your life's experience and where you have reached, and whatever you want to say? Any one or two thoughts, anything?
Just two sentences, sir. Those who are in the first phase of their career and life, they must factor their domestic responsibilities, and even if they have to compromise their career aspirations, they should do that, which happened in my case also. But all those who are moving in the second stage of their career, where the one part has already been done, whatever was possible, I think then it should be passion, passion, and passion only, and nothing else. And of course, in that passion, if you can bring some purpose intended to give back to the society in whatever manner possible, so that is I think the golden line. That is what one is practicing, and I feel that is the way one should look at life.
Thank you so much, General Ashok. It's been, as I said, a number of times. It's been wonderful talking to you. And I feel that this talk will be of value to anybody who's listening. And I'm really grateful to you for accepting my invitation to be the first person whom I talk to in this series of In Conversation. And I look forward to coming back to you because there's so many more questions in my mind, which I, of course, because there's after a time which is limited. So I have not done, but maybe we'll pick up those threads some other day. Thank you so much. And
Thank you,
that,
sir. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
please
you.
go ahead.
I'm just, expressing my gratitude because I don't know, because procrastination is something which happens with every human being. So I have been procrastinating, writing, this book of life story in three phases. One, as to how I joined army. One, the life journey in the army, and third, beyond. I don't know in what time frame I'll be able to write it out, but having spoken to you, at least a lot of memories got refreshed. So I'm really grateful to you for giving me that opportunity and taking me through those life moments.
In fact, not only that, what I will do is I promise you that once we upload this recording, once I get the transcript, I will send the transcript to you so that you can get the seed material for writing your thing. And I'm sure there will be so much more you'll add to it. So with that, viewers, we come to an end to this particular episode. We look forward to bringing more eminent personalities like General Ashok and listen to their life stories. Thank you very much for tuning in, for listening, and Jai Hind.